What did I just bear witness to? Was the funeral of Akash. Why am I still making videos about this guy after so long? I want to talk about other shit. Well, not really, but like, you know what I mean. I'm like playing games. Got into the new Elden Ring DLC. I'm gonna record footage of that. Got two new classes. One is just like this guy who like stands outside of the battlefield and he looks at people. And that's his power. So he's like he's like the government. He just like stands around and like does nothing. And then there's this other like lady called the Undertaker, and she's like really good. Like she's like the exact opposite. She's just like really fast, has like a really good like kit on her, really good moveset with hammers and stuff. Also axes, surprisingly, so she can also use those. I should also remember that to check for the special kinds of relics. That's what the decorations are called in this game. I was playing Monster Hunter, and then I quit because I was playing Arch Tempered, and then the lag was so bad. I just like purposely died. I don't know why. I just gave up. This is such bullshit, and no one was doing any damage. So, whatever. Here I am talking about somebody else's problem. Oh man, I think the Sikhs have like plummeted their stock because the value of their like fucking women and like their whole like culture and shit is now put into question because it's like you know how you have this idealism, right? That people always try to strive for, but oftentimes when they can't achieve it, they'll take credit for other people and like their let's just say modesty. So in the case of Jizleen over here, she's like, yeah, I'm this like conservative, sheltered Indian girl. What the fuck are you talking about? You're Punjabi. You guys are fucking retards and shit. And you hoeing out. And that's like the craziest thing too. Is like the whole thing about this I guess cuckening, if you will. The cuckening of Akash ATM. Yo, shout out to Too Lazy to Try, Philion, even Sensitive Society and a Cheeto are jumping in. Oddly enough, I don't know, maybe I missed it, but more Pegasus is just like went on a fucking kill spree. He buried Hassan, and now he's going after the rest of his orbit. He's just like he's like a one man army. He's like 100%. You know, well, I don't think he's gonna like keep his brown stock. We all lost our brown stock. Apparently, like Justin and Mark. Yo, he's facing the Reaper, the Justice System Reaper, man. And I'm like 50-50 on the fence of whether or not he was guilty or not because it's like, you know, sometimes it's like, you know, they're about it and then like, you know, something happens and then, you know, they change their mind. Or, you know, who knows, maybe like, you know, he gets put on the spot like a cash, you know, instead of like, you know, a podcast with his peers, it's a grand jury. Ladies and gentlemen, happy Friday, everybody. Oh, you know, you gotta enjoy like the little things in life. You know, trying to like fit into this mold that doesn't you know necessarily suit you. Doesn't make you the man that you want to be. Right? They say, oh, you gotta get married, you gotta have kids, you gotta meet a girl, a pretty girl, right? Because you want to have, you know, attractive kids. You know, your attractive wife, you get attractive kids, or so they say, or so they say. You see, there's this cultural thing that I think most people overlooked, right? And if I'm going to be perfectly honest, my parents and their generation skipped over it, and it was something that happened around like I guess Woodstock. So I'm guessing like something 70s, late 70s maybe, and it was like a sexual revolution where going to college was seen as this like rite of enlightenment, you know, adulthood passage, right? And then, excuse me, you go to college, you meet a few people, and you start making out with them. And it's only two, and that's your roster of guys. And don't worry about this Asian guy. He doesn't count because he's half Asian, half white. He's only like 50% white. So in Jizleen's like he doesn't count. He didn't count because he's not part of the white boy roster. He's Asian. And yo, that was a fucking fucked up story, man. Like I don't know what kind of comedic like punchline you get out of that other than you're an idiot. What the fuck? It's like, yo, if I told that story, yeah, not only is this highly sus, but it's like, why? What is the point? Like, of humiliating yourself for the sake of other people's, you know, pleasure and shit. But when Rehab Room dedicates an entire episode to your downfall, that's when you know, man. That's when you know it's over. It's over. It is over. Okay? The Sikh man, like, stock has hit an all time. You know, it's just, it's in the dirt. And it was a long time coming, if you ask me, because all this time you get this fake bravado out of these incels and shit, right? Out of these guys, you know, no shade on Rehab Room. You know, he knows what I'm talking about. Like these mans who are like, you know, in the denial about their sexual market value or SMV, trying to play themselves out, you know. Oh, check out my car. Check out my posse. Check out my like culture. Check out my lack of deodorant. Check out my unibrow. Check out my inbred jeans and shit. Where I'm just like 100% indiscernible from the rest of my peer group. And most importantly, check out my wife. Yeah, you probably heard or seen her before. If you watched, you know, the videos that were like on the DL, some amateur video on the DL when you're going on the Pornhub, whatever. And now, like, this video that they tried to do for the damage control, like, again, I stopped watching it after, like, the whole cringe moment where he, was trying to assert his dominance over the hypothetical situation of, you know, gay anal sex with Nav, the co-host's husband, and then like, yeah, so Nav wasn't even there, which makes it even like, you know, more like, you know, like secondhand embarrassment, but also like, um, you know, his reaction to it, right, was obvious, and I thought like that was the only one, but like Rehab Room literally like sat through the whole fucking video and just tore this guy apart. It wasn't just the first time. This guy was like seesawing. Like this guy was on a teeter-totter, okay? With his emotions. Every single time his wife would say something, he would like jump up or bounce up, and like the reaction, the physical reaction was more than visible. Like his eyes, his face, his demeanor. It was just, you know, like it's kind of weird because can you imagine, right? Like the best way I could describe this is like, you know how you have those armchair psychologists or therapists or whatever, and they have somebody sitting in the chair, and then like they're talking to this person, and then this person is just like, yeah, tell me your problems, blah blah blah, right? And like they're just like writing this shit down. Now imagine that situation where that same guy, the same therapist, was in the chair, and somebody else was writing down his problems and how that feels for them, you know, and that's I think that's how Akash is feeling right now because it's like this is a guy who uses like comedy and like the brevity of like I guess showmanship to I guess sway and like influence the audience. And when it's like used against him, like the secondhand embarrassment. Well, that's firsthand for him actually. It's complete embarrassment. Like his entire life is eviscerated. Like there is no coming back from this. Like this is possibly the most shameful, the most humiliating like thing to have ever happened to this man. Because it's like, okay, fine, all these people are making videos about you, cool, right? And then Rehab Room, Insult, aka Insult TV, makes a fucking video about you. You're fucking toast. You're done for, man. Like, yo, the bottom of the. You wanna know why I go there? Because not only like I want to just like be able to like reach these guys who are like hurt and stuff. Like, not that I care personally, but it's like if they can play video games, they play the games that I like Damon X Machina here. It's a cool game. Chill, play co-op, explore the map, fight bosses, and collect items, armor, weapons, all that good stuff. As opposed to just like venting your problems. Like, I get it, I get it. Sometimes it's a good idea to do that once in a while, but like you get the idea that like these places become like a magnet for people who I don't know dread life and like existence as a whole. And like to their credit, like I think they're pretty tame, right? And people could argue, well, I'm one of them. Well, fine, you can call me that, but like yeah, like they're okay. Like they're not masochistic, if you know what I mean. But I can't say the same thing about Akash. Like this, and everybody's saying it too. Everybody's saying it. Stevie Knight, this like big YouTuber I'm subscribed to, he's saying it. He has like a bunch of podcasts and he has a channel where he responds to it and stuff. He was actually responding to it today. Yo, this girl's hot and stuff, dude. What the heck? I'm like, I'm not surprised or anything. I was just like, damn, holy shit. She's like too pretty for the internet. But like, okay, but like for real, everybody's coming. Too lazy to try. Yo, this guy, too lazy to try. Go subscribe to Too Lazy to Try. Okay? Literal legend. Literal legend. Okay? You wanna know why this guy's a legend? This guy, he puts in effort into his videos, right? But I'm not like sold on the idea that he puts more effort into his videos than most other people. I'm not saying like that's mandatory. You have to put more effort into your videos and stuff, right? But it's like it's in his name, right? Like he's just like winging it, I guess, if you will. But like his videos get the most watched, the most shares. Like this guy's legendary. In one day, 24 hours, 500,000 views. Just one video on a cache. One day, dude. Holy shit. Because it's like, okay, fine. You could argue that people are like, taking this too far, but it has to be said that if you can drop a video in one day and you're not a mainstream YouTuber, you know what I mean? Like, too lazy to try. He's pretty popular and stuff, but like, I don't consider him. Sorry if I come off as insulting by saying this, but I don't consider him like a commercialized, household name YouTuber. But although people can argue because his videos get like around a lot and stuff, right? I could be wrong about that, but like again, like for him to make a video about this topic that's been out for like at least a month plus now, and to get so much traction in it, oh, that's it, man. Yo, the internet is your worst enemy at this point. Jizleen is your fucking worst name. Oh my god. What the fuck is this? And you know what the worst part about all of this is? as she's going along with this like bullshit, like this like obviously a fluff piece interview, um she's also like, at least to me, half-heartedly like, making these responses and stuff. Like she's not, like her conviction doesn't seem very genuine to me. So like as she's doing this interview, it seems more like she's just joking along and going along with it rather than like, oh, Akash here, wants some closure. The internet needs to stop clowning him. You're making a fool out of him and you yourself, and it's just like she doesn't care. At least from my point of view, she just does not care. Like, I think I see that as like a cultural inevitability for most Sikh guys and Paki guys out there, is that they idolize and like have this white worship of like, white people basically, because they hate Indians, right? They hate Hindus, and like even though they're native to the land and like we taught them everything, the language, all that shit, and like they're basically like, Sikhs are Muslim converted to, their religion, and Muslims are Muslims. So like they basically either convert us forcibly, or like, it's them that come over or whatever, right? And I bring that up because they basically want like to have all the resources and the land for themselves, but they don't want the Hindus there. They want the Hindus basically all killed off and, wiped out. So they have this like idolization that like, oh, white people have a disdain for black people, and therefore they're just like us because we have a disdain for these darker skinned, Hindu people, right? And they're polytheistic, cow dung throwing, worshiping ways and stuff, right? And then they get like, on this high and mighty, horse where they're like, look at how like light my skin is, right? And they'll go out of their way using skin lightener and all, like even like having illegitimate like, children with like white people who come through, backpack through, like European backpackers come through, and will just like, have sex with like a woman, and she won't use any protection, and like she was like, yeah, yeah, I'm cool with it, and then boom, gets knocked up, and it's like, oh no, raise that kid as my own. It's like, no, no, we have this in our family genes. These blue eyes, these green eyes, this is totally us. And I'm not trying to say like, yo, it's out of the question for any of them to have that. It's just like sometimes you see it and it's just so fucking obvious. It's like, yo, dude, you're like, you're not fucking from here, dude. You know what I mean? Yo, she has it in her, like physically and literally, in her genes and in her body too. A roster of guys, like so the guys are checking her. Like Abba and Preach did it the best. They're checking. Shout out to Abba and Preach too. Like, yo, they're laughing their asses off about this. 1 month, man. 1 month of just riding this guy, tarnishing his reputation, just like taking him to the cleaners. But like some people say it's well deserved because he's like a comedian that throws that kind of shade. So it's like if he's able to throw it, he should be able to take it. But I don't see it that way. I see it as like, and it's like it's a very common thing with like their culture and shit, because they like to like, pussy and fight in groups and like, run to cops and be bitches and shit, right? So it's like when things don't go their way, it's like the end of the world to them. They don't know how to react to that, right? And they have to contend with the fact, right, that there's this thing called ratio, and it's like it means two things, right? Obviously, it means like the when you say something online, and then people say something back at you that contradicts or whatever. There's that, and then there's what I call the packy ratio, and that is like, yo, because you put these mans up on this like, pedestal, these white mans up on a pedestal, you're gonna have to contend with the fact that she's gonna be passed around to these white guys, right? And she's going to want these white guys more than she's going to want you, inevitably. And you can say the same thing, right? But here's the thing, right? On the scale of desirability, you're always going to be on the diminishing factor. Like it's always going to be like for every, you know, 10, 20 girls, maybe one Sikh guy is attractive to like, other ethnicities and shit. And it's just the way it is. And you're gonna have to deal with the fact that most of your girls are gonna be like these hoes turn the fuck out and shit. And just like, yo, use hoes for show, right? Trying to like, yo, say, huh, I'm an innocent Indian. No, you're not. You're a fucking Paki. You're a fucking Kalistani. You want to rape a childie. You know what I mean? Holla at your homie, Jaskar and Judge. And your fucking pedophile ass peoples, man. Yeah, that's how it is now. Because it's like, you can't even be close to this guy. You can't even, like, I actually falsely assumed that he was a Hindu or something because it's like, my last name's Singh, right? So I was like, no, I think he's fully Sikh and shit. So I could just throw shade. But for real though, like, you don't even want to be close to this. This is like the kind of like pain and suffering and like, misery that if you ever had kids, right? And even if you're like, it's just your wife, so your kid is just half, like the possibility of it happening to him is just so great. Like you'd rather just like abort your kid than have them live through a life like this. And that's like the life that they're gonna have to live through. Like you can even feel it and see it with like their level of overcompensation. I gotta have, the fastest car. I gotta have, the nicest clothes. Mom, dad, or like their whole family just like hooks it up on some like bullshit, some nepo bullshit. It's like, yo, get me a job here, and it's just they're just like working for like the family and stuff. And this is a very important distinction because we see this with Akash, right? Like he actually does this in front of everybody. He's like, I'm going to give her these gifts, or I'm gonna show me shopping in those like these high end designer stores. Or maybe that was her idea, but it's also like he's a public figure, so I think inevitably he would have had the last say. And like, yeah, he was okay with it, and yeah, you're getting to see like just how shallow it is to like have all of that and then just have nothing at all. Like you don't even have a woman who loves you because it's just like she's nothing more than an extension of like your own like failures in life basically. And she knows it. Like she's the living embodiment of your failures in life because like first of all, she's much younger than you. And in her mind, like people can argue, agree or disagree. I don't really care because I don't even find her attractive. But I don't find like like her level of disrespect. Like the cover doesn't match the title. At least to me, people don't disagree with me on that shit. Like, a fucking buck teeth ass, like fucking, fake ass smile shit. I'm not having it, man. I'm just like, the fuck is this? Like, how old are you? Like, yo, doesn't she look like, with those teeth and shit? Like, she looks like much older to me. And like, that's a weird ass thing because it's like, I still have my teeth. Like, yeah, I chipped my, like, two front teeth at separate points, one from hockey and one from I forget. Like I was like running at like elementary school, I ran into like a pole or something. But like, at that like that fakeness to like the entirety of her teeth, it's just like so disgusting and shit. It's like ew. And to like put her up on that pedestal. But then again, like you look at Akash, like no wonder. And that's his fate for now and forever. It's just to be cucked. To be, cucked like all the Sikhs now by their women, just getting passed around to the white boys.